The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Flying by the seat of our pants tonight.
Hello.
Everything could have gone wrong at 7 o'clock, went wrong, and I'm running around here like a maniac trying to get caught up, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, it's time to go. So here we are.
I was worried about you there because when you put me into the chat, all I heard was you in the distance going like, "I'll be right back." Sorry. Shit. All right.
Yeah.
I see you're embracing the Guardians.
Hell yeah, man. Why not?
Embrace them before that roller derby takes them for all they're worth.
Well, I don't know how legit this update is, but my understanding, and take this source for whatever it's worth because it's not a real solid one, but the Guardians roller derby trademark expires at the end of this year. And the rumor is that the Cleveland Guardians baseball team is going to swoop in and scoop it up before the Guardians have a chance to, put their pants on, basically. Now we'll see if that's what happens.
Well, regardless, I guess we're just going to dive right into it. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who actually likes that that wing to G logo. It's my favorite part of the whole rebrand.
Can I let you in on a little secret? It's kind of growing on me too, believe it or not.
Yes!
Honestly, if it wasn't around the baseball, if it was just the G with the wing, okay.
I like the baseball.
But this whole thing of like, oh, it's mimicking the grip of a split finger fastball. Like, give me a fucking
okay. So
break.
that's Nike speak bullshit. But like the actual,
it looks weird. It looks weird.
It to me, and people tried to say this in the thread as like an insult to it, but it's actually why I love it. Is that it looks like something you'd see on some old gas station. Like I adore this thing. Like. I'm usually not one to get hats for teams that I'm not a fan of. Usually, there are a few exceptions, but usually not. But if they put out an alternate cap with this logo on it, I'm buying one.
Well, Mike, you can already buy one. It's called the 1990s Anaheim Angels.
Yeah, but I don't like periwinkle.
The only problem I have with it, and somebody pointed this out on the boards too, is that that G on the other side has to be backward.
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't be a split finger grip because I don't know what it would be, but yeah. So the G is backwards on the other side. So I think I'm with Zach. If you had gone with just the one G in the wing and got rid of the baseball, it would be even better. But it's growing on me. Though.
I love it. I want it's. I mean, the rest of the Guardians' identity, I'm actually rather lukewarm on. It's not bad by any means. There's one guy in the CCSOC thread who's calling it like the worst identity in the majors or in sports, and it's like, dude, it's not even the worst identity in baseball. But I don't think it's bad by any means. Everything about it is just fine. It's very safe. I would have preferred if they had done something fun with spiders.
I guess there were a lot of legal issues they couldn't overcome with spiders.
I've heard it had to do with University of Richmond, right. Apparently.
Yeah.
But for what it is, most of the identity is fine. It's perfectly fine. But I just really like this G logo. It's goofy in all the ways that I like goofiness. So
go ahead, Andy.
They're gonna miss out signing some sort of major free agent at some point or extending a great player because they pony up to get Tom Hanks to do the voiceover for that Twitter video. Secondly,
odd, right?
Let's not short the Black Keys here either. They did the music for that.
Yeah, whatever. But I don't give a shit.
Right, that's how I feel about it too.
But the look of the winged G bothers me on numerous levels because it's very thin, and these guardians of the what are the guardians of traffic on the bridge that they're
Right.
supposed to be.
When I learned that was the full name of those statues,
It sounds a lot less majestic than you think it would be, right? Like
the guardians of traffic.
of traffic, not guardians of the river or guardians of the city.
Well,
no,
I am the God Almighty of traffic.
Well, they represent like the different stages of transportation involving, which is super weird because you look at this like really neat like Lord of the Rings looking statue, and then it's like holding a Model T.
Yeah. You expect this thing to be standing outside of Gondor or whatever, and it's just.
But
It's pointing you to the gas station with the G logo on the top.
Exactly. See,
Yeah.
it all ties together. It all.
I mean, there is a gas station called the Flying J, so if anything, this is the Flying G. But it's fine. It's Star Wars: The Force Awakens of logos is basically what it is.
That's fair.
That it's a copy of something that somebody already did, maybe a little bit better.
It's just in the middle to try to satisfy everyone. And
the Force Awakens was probably the best of those movies, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I got to get this in before I forget, and I wish I could give proper attribution here, but I don't remember who said this. But the new name of Progressive Field is going to be the G Spot now, which I thought was pretty fun and not bad.
Yeah.
Could have been worse.
The
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, that's.
The more I think about the word mark, initially I was like, oh, the word marks are fine. I don't know if I love the angular nature of it because, like, as somebody pointed out, it's sort of hearkening back to the old Indians word mark, the kind of tribal like carving, and it's like, is that a nice nod, or is that leaning into something that you were trying to get away from?
To me, I think honestly, the angular nature of the word marks that they're going with, like they're trying to replicate sort of the Art Deco style of the Guardian statues.
Is that what they're going with? Okay.
I don't know if that's what the team said or not, but that's kind of what I took away from it. I kind of like it because, like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for cursive script that goes with angles instead of curves. This doesn't do it the best way, but it's fine.
Yeah, I think they're all fine. I think the only other thing, like, I don't like the G with the ball. And the other thing that's a little odd, I don't know why they decided to go with this C, where it kind of is like bent inwards.
It's the
I have a
diamond.
theory about that, actually.
It's supposed to represent the statues on the Hope Bridge.
I thought the reason that the C looked like that was they're trying to make it look like a heater shield. Guardians, shields.
To me, it's like they said, well, we could just use the block C, but we can't just use the same exact thing. So let's pinch it a little bit. It's like, all right. I don't know. It seems like they decided that they couldn't just roll out with the block C again, and they had to tweak it in any sort of way they thought, and that was the way they did. I would have been fine with just keeping the block C as is and moving on, but
one other thing, real quick.
Well, I wanted because I think there's a lot of rock and roll like hair metal bands from the '80s inspired, like
sure.
Kiss and Twisted Sister. That's possible.
Well, as I said in our
got a real Twisted Sister vibe, doesn't it?
As I said in our group chat, like, I thank God for Greg's sake that they actually stayed away from rock and roll references, because if they had been like the Cleveland Rockers with like an electric guitar logo, you just know what.
You know what, Mike? That G can also stand for guitars. Just saying. No, one more quick thing. And I read this about a half hour ago. I think it was Paul Lucas retweeted something. It was an article where the other guy, what's his name? Todd Radom, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he thinks that this thing might have been rushed because it was going to be leaked, and that they're not done yet. That this was just to get it out there ahead of the leak or whatever. So your mileage may vary with that, but they may not be finished with this whole thing yet. Is I guess my point is what's your
take on the idea that They went with Guardians because now they only have to replace half the letterhead.
I don't
Now
buy
you just
that.
have
I think
Deans
there was
and-
certainly an attempt to try to keep some familiarity with this new name.
yeah.
Which honestly, I don't mind.
Yeah,
It's
Cleveland
like-
Guardians, Cleveland Indians, they don't sound that different. It's not as jarring as, like, say, if they'd gone with, well, like the soccer workforce, which I would have loved, of course, but anything odd that didn't
Cleveland cricket workforce.
or so, yeah, there you go, something like that. But I think they were definitely going for a let's make it sound as much like Indians as possible to kind of calm the masses.
I actually really like the direction they went. At least, if it turns out that they're not done and they've still got some additional stuff that they're going to release, then, we'll judge all that when it comes. But I really like what I'm seeing here because, like, the problematic aspects with the last name were not the style of the script and the colors. Those were not the problem. And I think that, like, we could get into the reads a bit on people who would oppose this name change on principle versus those who are just doing it to be trolls, whatever. I'm not. The point is that this was a contentious name change. It's clearly something that a large amount of fans, for whatever reason, were not thrilled about, but it still had to happen. And because of that, I am kind of happy that they, kept the script, not identical, but, close enough that they kept the, they kept the colors. Honestly, it's probably the best way to go about this. And they're not even new in pioneering that. You look at universities, NCAA teams that have had to drop native-themed identities. Almost always they maintain, the same broad identity. They change the name, maybe a new logo, but the colors and the scripts all tend to remain close, if not identical. So I really like what, the Indians/Guardians did here. It's a really good way to kind of move forward and also do it in a way that is probably going to ensure that a lot of people who might not have been on board, find their way on board. So
I have a take on that with the whole thing. I put this on the boards and I'll say it here. In my heart of hearts, just based on pure emotion, if you had said, what would you prefer, Guardians or Indians? I would have said, let's keep it Indians, because it's what I know. It's what I grew up with. It's what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
From an emotional base level, that's what I would have wanted, because that's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been. You can call it tradition, sentimentality, nostalgia, whatever you want. But I also know in my head, the logical part of my monkey brain, that changing the name was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
As I said on the boards, I think what we need here is to give the Indians fans or the Guardians, whatever you want to, well, we're going to call them the Guardians from here, not because that's who they are, or will be next year. But you've got to give us time to let our emotions catch up with our better Angels, and that's going to take a little bit longer.
I
want it to.
I agree wholeheartedly, which is why I'm actually a fan that they kept the colors and they, kept some familiar aspects in the identity, because that's going to help.
It's a bridge. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, when I reacted I reacted negatively when I first saw the design, just because it looked tacky. I told them, like, the overall design, the name and the theme, I really like. Fusion is lacking, but I think it's intentionally kind of being ham-fisted to bridge old fans who grew up with Indians and to fans of the Guardians without making it too uncomfortable, too jarring. Like Greg said, even the name seems to roll off the tongue on the syllables. The colors are more or less the same. It kind of harkens back a little bit to the old design. And I got to hope that most of this is temporary. Like, the color scheme sticking around is fine, but I mean, the hat, the C logo is just trash. That's a complete throwaway. I mean, you can't be serious that people glowing about the skinny C on the cap. That's garbage. That's a garbage logo. One of the worst hats in the major leagues for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like, give it some some time to accept it, and then in like 5 years get a full rebrand.
And then in 5 years, roll out the Brandiose logo of one of the statues,
No.
the gritting holding a baseball bat.
I don't think I a Brandiose type thing. I think they'll give it a proper kind of a overhaul to necessarily like throw everybody off. I think it'll be simple and they'll go classic because they want to, it's a very old franchise. But I don't think that it's going to happen for a while. But either way, the hat is just a damn shame because it looks like, generic, create a league, create a team hat with a shitty generic font. Just a big like G. You could have done a million things with a C and G. They're both round shapes. You could have made them interlock. You could have done anything. No, here's a skinny, shitty C. It's like, come on, man. Just fucking try. Let's try something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do that, like, I understand. Like, as I'm looking through the article and like, I see the shape of the pillar that they're talking about. But
you do?
Yeah.
Where?
In the mothership logo, in the story.
Hold on, let me find it here. I got
the link.
Incidentally, to touch on something Chaos Blast said, I would want to be the guardian of a river that catches on fire. That that sounds like a bitch in time.
How many rivers catch fire up here in the middle of nowhere, Canada, bro? I'm just saying.
As I'm looking at the sea, the thing that really I can't stand that like weird pinching in on the side, that like curved edge. Just make it all flat. And if you're gonna do that, like again, if this is the C you're gonna trot out, just put the block C and just like don't worry about it. Just don't worry about selling a new hat. Just put leave the C as is and move forward.
All you need to do is put out a hat with that G logo, and you're gonna make money. So there you go.
Yeah, the wing G, like just the wing G, no baseball. That's I would buy one.
Yeah, make it flat. Don't give me this 3D shit. Make it flat.
You're all haters. It's brilliant as is, and I won't deal with you insulting my special boy.
It's a cool, like it'll look really good on a sleeve, which was where I assume it'll go. Like it's a cool logo for that, but not.
Well, that actually brings up a good point because and it ties into the idea that they're not done yet, because out of everything they released, I don't actually see anything that's a primary logo. I see a home word mark, I see a road word mark, I see a cap logo. The G logo, at best, is going to be an alternate for the sleeves.
Yep.
But I don't see anything that's like, oh, this is going to be the primary logo, which tells me that there's still probably something being worked on.
But like
that would be my guess.
It seems like in the press conference, if you look at the backdrop, they're going with the C as the primary, the cap logo.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you know what wouldn't surprise me either is that if you saw the C and the blue road jersey with Cleveland on the front, an awful lot at home too. I don't know that they're going to dive in headlong into this. I think they're going to try to make it like an easy transition for people, but some people are fine with it. Others are going to have a problem with it no matter what you do.
Well.
Look at this. This G doesn't match this G. This C doesn't match this C. The
G's match. What are you talking about?
This G barely fits this G.
No.
This C.
No.
Mike, Andy's right. Like if you made that 3D G flat, it would not be the same shape as the word.
You are all haters.
It's the same idea. It's just not the same line.
But they're right. It would not be the same.
Greg, it's not about being right, all right? It's about I've made my position, and I'm just gonna, I'm committed. So
there you go. All right, fair enough. At least you're upfront about it.
You can tell also that this baseball is like stock. The baseball.
Yeah, no, that baseball is clean off of I Google searched baseball stock image.
Yeah.
Like
clip art.
There's nothing. There's nothing really useful about that. I mean, I don't mind this so much. Like that's kind of cool. It's all right. It's different. It's a little quirky. It's a little 90s like tacky for me. A little bit too tribal, like you said, kind of carved from stone. And that kind of also blends to the whole looks like a heavy metal logo thing. But this looks like something that's like a medieval timed menu.
Oh no, see that's what That's what I was saying. I think that the C logo, the cap logo, I think the reason why it's pinched in like that is they're trying to go for a medieval heater shield logo because, shields, guardians, there you go.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It looks like
Pick a
crap.
fucking name.
But yes, but that's
Like, but again, like if I had to choose the regular block C versus this, I just go with the block C. Like there's
Or at least-
literally the
at least-
tweaks are so tiny. Like why are you even bothering doing that?
Or if
You just
nothing
left
else,
it.
go with the C in the Cleveland, the block Cleveland thing there. Yeah, I could go with that. But one more thing I read too. They're called the Guardians because they're going to take good care of the young players that they have before they trade them all away.
Fuck off. Kiss
So,
my ass. That's all bullshit.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't mean anything. Just cease talking, Nike. Just stop it. It doesn't mean anything. It means
no,
shit.
that was a fan said that they would keep care of the players until they were traded away. It was a joke. Like
That fan can be quiet.
like because what's his name? Oh God, I can't think of his name. Fuck, number 11. Anyway, he'll be gone after Lindor was gone and all the others. It'll just be a matter of time. But long story short, at first I was like Guardians. I mean, it's okay, I guess. But it really grew on me fast, and I thought I kind of like it. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm really kind of digging this. And then I said the logo's the worst thing I've ever seen, and then that grew on me. So maybe it'll have a creeper effect on everybody, and we'll all like it.
So to clarify, this they're not changing uniforms this season, but they've changed names already to where
No.
in the broadcast
No.
they're calling them Guardians?
No, there's
No. There's still the Indians until the season's over.
yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
I think
I thought it'd be really weird.
I would have applauded them. They just come out like, no, we're the Guardians now, midway through.
that would have been funny.
Mhm.
But then again, you got probably because they don't have the merchandise ready or the uniforms or anything else ready. But other than that, why wouldn't you? Why would you wait?
I thought it would have been hilarious. It's like, no, we timed it perfectly to line up to the All-Star break. Half the season.
Yeah, why not?
But
anyway, people, the ones that don't like it, they'll survive. And like I said, you got to give everybody time to let their emotions catch up to their better angels, and we'll be all right. It'll be okay. It's just a baseball team, folks. That's all.
This too shall pass.
Stand down. Nothing to get alarmed about. By the way, this is the 5th time they've changed their name in their history, so let's not act like this has never happened before.
Oh, what were they before the Indians?
The Naps, the Spiders,
Oh,
the
okay.
Blues.
Yeah,
I
but they've
would
been the
have
Indians
they brought Blues back, but then you've got an issue with the St. Louis Blues and all that. But
the Indians for quite some time though.
yeah, that's the longest one, obviously. But Forest Cities for a time, I believe, back in the 1870s.
Yeah, according to our beloved sportslogos.net, Cleveland Blues from 01 to 04, the Naps from 05 to 14, and then Indians from 1915 to what will be 2021.
Yeah, so that's clearly the longest one. And I'll just say again, too, if you had gotten rid of Chief Wahoo 20 years ago, we're not even having this conversation.
Yeah, like if they had gotten rid of Chief Wahoo, probably it's been mentioned before, but like if they had gotten rid of Chief Wahoo, like say around the time they moved into Progressive Field,
Yep.
like I don't think there's any clamoring to change the Indians' name.
No, but instead they went. They didn't double down. They went like all in on Wahoo when they opened Jacobs Field. All in. I'm not kidding you guys. There were Wahoos fucking everywhere in that stadium. Literally every single trash can had one Wahoo on each side of the trash can. It was. I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of Wahoos when I walked into that place. I mean, even I noticed it, and I'm used to the fucking thing.
And that's just the fans. Womp, 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 womp.
Yeah. Oh, but they had it everywhere. It was like, it was just like Wahoo. And I don't know why, because I thought that would have been the perfect opportunity to go, okay, now we've got this new stadium, new team, whole new thing. Let's dump the part of it that people have been fighting about since I can remember. No, we're gonna double down on it.
People still would have gotten on them about the name. Like I don't think that goes away. Maybe they'll change it now, but they would have to change it eventually, I believe.
The name Indians is kind of it's in a very gray area. It's not benign, but it's also not as malicious as, say, the Washington Soccer Workforce's former name. That was like a straight up slur.
Right.
Yeah.
Indians has a bit more of a complex history that I don't know. I think it could have survived under the radar if they had just dropped Wahoo like 30 years ago.
Let me.
It would probably be the same thing as what we deal with the Blackhawks logo, right? We're like,
Yeah.
is the Blackhawks logo inherently racist? No. Is the name Indians inherently racist? No. Is it something that you probably shouldn't use? Yeah. So
Right.
you would certainly have discussions about it, but we wouldn't be changing it right now, probably. But
Andy, are you looking forward?
Eventually would.
Here's
Andy,
my thing. Let me expand on that thought real quick, Mike. That if it was get rid of Wahoo, and also make the smart move and start inviting the quote unquote Indian tribes into the process, buy yourself some political capital, and you would have been okay. Like the Seminoles did, or like I forget some of the other teams that have done that.
Well, the Spokane Indians are the the Spokane Indians are the big one where like they actually have a logo written in native script, right? So
if 94 when they make the switch to Jacobs Field, if they do all of that, we are not having this discussion today. But
no, the trolley question I wanted to ask, since Zach brought up the Blackhawks, is Andy, are you looking forward to the Blackhawks adopting a Hawkhead logo that was designed 10 years ago and just sitting in a concepts folder?
Well, I'm not. It just depends. I'm going to be doing a trial run with another team this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. We've got an announcement.
I was just going to get to that. It's a perfect segue. Andy's going to lifeboat to another team this year because the Blackhawks have some issues. The
Blackhawks might have aided and abetted a child molester. That's just
all right.
Child molester and a guy that threatened adult hockey players with a Cubs souvenir baseball bat to force them into sexual
Jesus Christ!
Wow,
Cubs souvenir baseball. Fuck.
Nothing symbolic about that at all.
It's simultaneously the most rapey and Chicago-y thing I've ever heard.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I just feel like the time is coming. They're obviously transitional period with the roster. They're in a transitional period with the logo. Probably,
yeah, Duncan
I think
Keith
that
isn't even around anymore. You can jump ship.
I mean, whatever. It's more. I mean, they got Seth Jones. Whatever. It's supposed to be a big splash. I'm not really feeling it, but they. Yeah, the thing is, though, like because of the scandal, it feels like that will be the impetus that sends them over the bridge to change their identity. Once they fire all the necessary people, or those people are imprisoned.
Oh, you mean once they fire a few interns and say that they've solved the problem?
I think there's going to be some real bloodletting there because I haven't followed it as closely as Andy has, obviously, but man, oh man,
once they throw a bunch of.
What I've seen is not
bleak.
great.
It's pretty.
No, it's pretty fucking monstrous.
Terrible, yeah, it really is.
But I put out the feelers, and I had some questions about certain teams that I was really wanting to just go ahead and go full Sharks. I've always been kind of a co-pilot with the Sharks since I was a little kid, but they just won't go with their like proper 90 set. Full time. If they did, then this would be an easy decision. But unfortunately, they made it very hard. I love the Winnipeg Jets, but the gray alt is so shitty. I just
the gray alternate sunk the Jets, huh?
It's such a bunch of shit. I can't stomach it.
I want to see if the three of us can deduce this on our own here. Like which team?
Yeah, go ahead and take your guesses.
Well, Kraken was too easy.
Right. I thought it was Kraken based on some of your tweets, Andy. So I was kind of. I mean, again, easy, clean jumping off point, no baggage to be had by anybody. So
can't be called the front runner, none of that. Yep.
No, I think if you had done that nobody would give you any grief. But the fact that you said that you're not going there, leaves open a lot of possibilities that
let's take some things off the table first. Is it a Canadian team?
It is. It is a Canadian team.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
I'm gonna take a swing. I'm gonna take a swing in the dark.
So I actually talked to a group of these fans over the last few days to try and get some feedback from them on their culture, like their memes, what it means to be a fan of this franchise.
Oh, so you went into a team subreddit and said, "Hello, fellow kids."
Hello.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, Oh, Andy, I don't know what Canadian franchise you would truly want to throw your lot in with if it wasn't Winnipeg.
I've actually got a theory. I've got a theory.
I mean, there's not that many Canadian teams, so you.
I think you are. I think you're going to follow Duncan Keefe to Edmonton.
Flames. It's
So-
a Flames. The
so here's the
uniform.
thing.
That's simple.
So
No,
when I asked them, I said, what do I need to know? And the first thing that a lot of people said was fuck the Oilers.
Flames.
A lot of them were giving me advice on certain players, and I'll just go ahead and debut it because you've probably already figured it out by now. Let me just clear this one out and reveal the team I'll be joining on the bandwagon for the 2021-22 hockey season. It is, as Greg deduced, the Calgary Flames.
That's the only option because you love their uniforms, right?
Uniforms are amazing. Yeah, the full-time retro is immaculate.
That was my first clue. And then, well, hey, you know what, man? Lanny McDonald lives. That's all I got to say.
So you didn't want to jump on the Leafs bandwagon?
Well, I felt like I've vicariously followed the Leafs through you, and I'm already a Bears fan.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say. As a Bears fan, it would be a very easy transition.
Yeah, I was doing the math in my head. I'm like, all right, there's no way in hell you voluntarily become a Senators fan. Like that's not.
No,
people in Ottawa aren't even Senators fans. All right,
that's not nobody's long life. You don't want to jump in with the Habs because
that's like becoming a Yankees or a Cowboys fan.
And and they have issues that they need to work out themselves right now. And then of course we just said the Leafs. I'm thinking Edmonton. No, you wouldn't. God, you wouldn't sign up for that torture either.
Time for the trash.
Yeah,
as we talk about Edmonton, it's appropriate. And then it's like okay, Vancouver, maybe they have some decent-ish jerseys and green and blue, and I guess no, but then there's all those years that you hated them as a Blackhawks fan, so I don't think you could have done that to yourself either.
Didn't they switch to the alternates full? Oh, that was just for the playoffs, wasn't it? Never mind. With the Oilers, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the Oilers,
Flames.
They're not.
I'm sorry, Andy. We can't. We're not friendly still. This isn't a
no.
a
I know.
choice.
I know the Ducks and the Flames have their differences, and
I mean the Ducks suck right now, so we're not
that was kind
exactly
of a
on
big
anybody's
point. I'm
radar.
still learning. But I've always loved Jerome McGinley. I always thought he was one of my favorites, and I will. I'm looking forward to following the career of Andrew Mangiapane, whose name translates literally to bread eater. He's in my picture, number 88. He's my new favorite bread eater.
You also have to root for Matthew Tkachuk now.
Yeah, well, for now, I don't know if he's a long-term thing. I know that Lucic is there, and he's. I don't know. I'm still not sure how to feel about.
I don't believe
Lucic.
he's coming back, so I don't think you have to worry about that one.
No. Okay. All right. That's fine. I felt a little odd with the whole fuck the Ducks, and I already hate the Canucks, so that's fine. I fucking hate the Canucks. The Oilers are trash because of those navies alone. And praise Scorch. That is the other thing I've had to learn. Praise Scorch. Scorch is, I guess, it's not even their logo.
No, Scorch, the old Abbotsford Flames, Albany Flames mascot.
Yeah, he's like he's a son with a hockey puck head.
We talked about him on the show actually when he debuted.
Yeah, he killed a bunch of firefighters.
Yeah, so
it was really kind of weird.
Yeah, so he's there's a Scorch for you with the this kind
right.
Of
something about that hat, like that head, makes him look like a serial killer. Like he looks like a mascot serial killer.
He reminds me of Heat Miser from the Christmas special.
Right.
Kind of this goofy looking flames. Anyway,
he should fight the Lynx from Edmonton.
I mean, he's dead. I think they've extinguished Scorch for a long time.
The Adirondack Flames no longer exist.
I'm surprised. I thought it would take us longer to figure this team out, but once he said it was Canadian team, I said it's got to be the Flames. Got to be.
Yeah, I mean that was, quick. It's like playing what's that? Guess Who? and saying, "Is your character black?" And there's like 2 guys that are black on the like board of 50 on the, you know what I mean? You ever play that game?
Does your character have a mustache? Then there it goes. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
game over.
that's a good choice, though, man. Those uniforms alone, yeah, that's a good reason.
And that was priority 1. Is I like their alternate with the horse. I like the road. The road is one of the best uniforms in hockey. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. People have said like, oh, they're kind of a one and done team. They sometimes make the playoffs. They mostly suck. I hope you like to drink, things like that.
You're a Bears fan,
but,
so there you go. This is going to be natural for you.
I've seen, I've had 3 Stanley Cups recently, so I'm very spoiled. I'm okay with just kind of seeing what it seems like. It's my high school sports team colors, so it felt like a pretty natural thing. Plus, the C logo is pretty cool. It's just a good aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, especially now that they're wearing throwbacks full time. Like you.
Yes. Yeah, I would not have. I would not have joined that. Yeah. And there goes the Vancouver. They're just dumped into the garbage. But I was actually really the what are they called? The Kraken. I was actually, their uniforms look pretty damn good in the light. Like once those things were out on TV, I was very moved. Those are good uniforms.
I actually, to me, I mentioned this on the CCSLC forums. I see a lot of similarities between them and Vegas.
How so?
Okay, so
I get it.
Okay, so you got the okay, so you've
in
got
terms of like striping patterns, color distribution, and the fact that the logos, like each team has a primary logo that combines, the team name with a city monogram, and each team has an alternate logo that combines a local landmark with, thematically appropriate stuff. Yeah, if I had to, when I saw the jerseys, the first thing like the initial mock-up like months ago, the striping pattern I think is like the exact same striping pattern as the Ducks orange alternate, just obviously different colors. But yeah, I remember thinking that when the Knights came out too, I'm like, that's striping's kind of similar to the Ducks, but
they don't look bad by any means.
No,
like,
they look clean. Like
they look very nice. It's just that like between Vegas and Seattle, and then also the Ducks alternate. Now that like I didn't see that at first, but then people brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, it does. Yeah,
it's
like
there.
I'm getting. It just reminds me of like when you see someone in the concept section who does like, oh, I'm going to rebrand the whole NHL. And then because it's one person designing all of the teams, like they all start to look similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's sort of like, no, they're all good, but I'm just noticing similarities. And
no, I think they're great. I think they're great additions to the league. The only detriment I give these things, that logo is the size of an aircraft carrier.
I love that.
It looks particularly big on the white jersey, I thought.
Yeah.
You can't see the
outline.
I mean,
on the dark jersey, you don't see the outline.
Right, exactly.
You do on the white.
I don't know, man. I like the white jersey more than the home jersey. I
think though? If you made that logo smaller, I don't think it would look as good.
Right. It would look weird.
Yeah,
like,
it would look too small.
Because it's kind of already in a rectangular shape. It just uses the space better. Like that's what's kind of sucks, no offense, about the Ducks logo, is that you have this little crest right here, most of the time, where it's just ducks, and it's like you got all this real estate that's not being used. I mean, it does kind of look like a Seagram's logo. Is the only thing I still am not a big fan.
I mean, yes, it very much does look like a Seagram's logo.
But what sells it for me is the transition of the sleeve here. Like I love that you kind of go from these like depths of the ocean kind of thing.
Yep.
Yep. And even the red makes it work. If it didn't have the red, it'd be a little bland. So, I mean, this thing's a fucking hit as far as I'm concerned so far. Good stuff. Well done.
Got to see them in action, but yeah, they look solid in pictures.
Yeah.
They'll probably pop more when you see them live on HD TV and all that. You got to give.
I hope so.
Live on TNT.
Yeah, Monday Nitro, NHL,
NHL Monday Nitro.
But
yeah, when you get to see a team full of third liners and cap space take the ice.
There you go.
Yeah. So listen, I just want to take some credit here because I said they weren't going to take Carey Price, and I said they were going to kind of low
Yeah.
ball.
Well, the thing that was
they weren't going to take much.
Oh, wait, before we get into
thing-
that, we got one more uniform to go through here, guys.
Oh, do we? Oh, yours?
Or not. If no one wants to talk
No,
about
what's
What?
it. The new
Browns?
Browns, 40 or 45th.
Oh yeah,
No,
the Browns throwbacks, right?
So
that's fine. Yeah, I'm getting it pulled up.
They're fine. I think I don't know. The helmet doesn't work for me with like the single white stripe and all this brown dominated uniform. I'm sure that's exactly how it looked back then, but like I don't know.
I'm reminded again how much I love Drop Shadow, but I
Yeah.
am hesitant to say the Browns should play into that because the last time they did that, it ended poorly. So
I like these a lot. I think they look good. I don't know that I'd want them as a full-time look, but I like them. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, they're very good. I
I
think the jersey and the helmet look like they're part of two different things, but
Well, I think they wore
Otherwise-
white helmets with these actually, and with the
Oh.
world, you can't do that. So they had to go with basically a later version of the helmet with just the one single white stripe and the numbers on the side, which they were a few years ago, if I remember right. So yeah, that's why you've got kind of the mismatch going on there. But yeah, that's it. I just
The
wanted to
stupid
say that-
7. I hate the 7. The little
Oh, fuck, that is
little
stupid. I
nubbin.
didn't even notice that. What the fuck?
oh,
It's like the Z
That's
stopped printing or something. And got a little dingleberry there on the end of the 7 for you.
yeah, the 5 has a weird.
I mean, that's
notch
been on there since.
halfway up too.
All right, let's
I'm
move
okay
on.
with the 5. But yeah. Fucking Browns.
Interesting.
Anyway, so
Jesus.
Kraken draft. Now you guys mentioned, and you guys probably followed the draft way more than I did. I just kind of watched vicariously on Twitter, but there was a lot of guys like nobody really knew. There weren't any
They
deals,
picked
at least as far as I.
weird dude, right? And there was no side deals because like the whole reason that Vegas kind of pulled the wool over everybody's eyes was everyone was so afraid of losing a player of value that they then traded players of value to Vegas, and Vegas took advantage of that by taking those players and draft picks and the whole thing, and then they were pretty hot out of the gate, so they started kind of spending to the cap and all that sort of stuff. Whereas this Seattle team out of the gate seemed to be more interested in taking some young guys that there was a good handful of them that had only played like 20 games each or less, and then settling for cap space. So when everyone saw that, oh, they're picking young guys, they're having a lot of cap space, they're opening themselves up for a whole bunch of deals. Because like, why in the world would they take some of these guys from some of these teams? Like from Philly, they took Carson Twerensky instead of James Van Riemsdyk, and it's like, okay, sure. They picked a guy from San Jose who has played 4 NHL games and is like a mid-tier prospect at best. And so people just expected that, like Vegas, there was a bunch of deals done to protect players.
Sure.
And there wasn't a single deal done like that. And in fact, after the draft, people thought, okay, well, now they're going to take some of these guys and flip them. They've made one trade. They traded Tyler Pitlick from Arizona that they picked to Calgary for like a 4th round pick.
Hey,
So-
there you go, Andy.
All right,
Tyler
yeah.
Pitlick. There you go. Get that jersey.
Yeah, I was just they
So it's just-
what
it's-
Giordano as well. Sucks.
Right. So I think they're on paper. If they go into the season with the team they have right now, it's not bad. They're still probably going to make the playoffs. They've got some strong goaltending, good defense, and then the forwards are kind of, you can roll 4 lines, and then you have guys like Yanni Gourde who will be impact players when they get the ice.
So let me ask you.
Or I think they're going to use all like half space to be active in free agency on Wednesday. So
never
see
mind.
how
You
that
answered my question right there. That's what I was going to ask. If they just went like on the cheap so they could score big in free agency.
I think that's the secondary view, is that they go into free agency and do that, or they spend the rest of the offseason between now and day one making some trades that people thought they might have made earlier. But it was just kind of odd because I think we all expected that I think we all thought that the GMs would have learned different lessons from Vegas, the Vegas draft, or that Seattle would have learned lessons from the Vegas draft. And it seemed like what everybody learned was we ain't touching anything. We're not going to make a single deal with you. And if you want to take a guy, go ahead and take a guy. We're not going to mess around and like do all these. We're not
going to give you 3 goal scorers to protect one goal scorer.
Building you up. You were going to make this on whatever list we give you, and that's that. And so that's why I thought that's why too. When you go into the draft, you see the names that were available, and then they skip over them. It's like, well, you could have gone the Vegas route and picked some of these guys, but you didn't. So what is going on here? And it's just they decided to not be. I think the rest of the league decided to not buy in, and then Seattle itself wasn't as aggressive as Vegas was. So just different philosophies.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, people have been saying it's like, oh, the pressure's on. Like, if you don't make the Stanley Cup Finals in your first year, you failed. Because that's the standard that Vegas set.
Maybe Seattle's just looking at it from they're taking the long view and going, we're going to build.
Well, see, the thing about Vegas is that they originally built towards the long view, but then when it worked out better than they thought, they then flushed that all down the toilet to chase a cup, and now it's going to end poorly.
Yeah, they made the right. They got further than anyone thought they would, and then the next offseason they were trying to sell all their parts to get guys like Erik Karlsson, and they've done so every offseason to like, well, if we're a cup contender right now, let's go for the whole damn thing. And now we hate them, and their system is starting to get more and more bereft, and they're going to fall hard. So.
They deserve it.
Yep.
Any team that uses my grandmother's curtains as part of their jersey, I can't get on board with. I'm sorry.
Like, honestly, I mean, it depends on how they handle the early years here. But if Seattle's going to take this patient approach and really build, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a cup before Vegas did.
No,
down the road.
Well, wouldn't that be okay? I mean, wouldn't that be hilarious if Seattle, they don't make? Let's say that they don't make the finals the first year. Like, that's really hard to do. So let's say they don't, and then all the Vegas fans are laughing at them, and then in like 5 years,
they realize
Seattle wins a cup and Vegas doesn't.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. So now we've got an even number of teams again in the NHL, right?
Even number of teams. Yep.
All right.
16 a conference. Seattle moves into the Pacific. Arizona moves into the Central, and we're all happy and even. Everybody gets 8 teams a division. No more uneven schedules and all that sort of nonsense. So
cool.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, like, they open up on the road for 5 straight games before they can finally play in their arena. So I think they're kind of giving them some extra time to make sure the arena is completely done.
Right.
That would be important that the arena is done.
Aren't the Isles opening up like with 12 straight on the road?
The Islanders have 13 road games to open the season.
That's rough.
Because, well, yeah, the arena's not going to be done. So the Rangers had to do this a couple years ago when MSG was doing renovations, but that they had a little bit of built-in time because they were starting over in Europe that year. But they still had to play like 10 games on the road. So 13, I think I saw, is definitely the longest season opening road trip anyone has ever taken. But it's only the second longest road trip in NHL history. I guess the Canucks had a 16-game road trip at one point in their existence.
Wow.
But yeah, the schedule came out, and the opening night you got Tampa raising the banner against Pittsburgh, and then Vegas hosting Seattle on ESPN on whatever that day is, Wednesday. The other interesting thing about the schedule,
right? I take it that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Andy,
sorry,
Zach, go ahead.
Okay. The other interesting thing about the schedule was that they're still doing the All-Star game, and they've built in an Olympic break, but they also haven't officially agreed to go to the Olympics yet. But the Olympic break is in the schedule should they agree to go.
Just go to the Olympics, you bitches! Jesus Christ!
Well, it's a thing of like
Commissioner Mike
the IOC is not pulling its weight here. They're not really like helping anybody get anywhere with this thing. So I understand the NHL's position, but
That does
I also
sound
think
right,
that we should
Chaos
just let them
Blast. Is he
know.
right about this? The Connect trip was a bunch of games before and after the Olympics in 2010.
That might be right,
That sounds right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he would know better than we would.
but I guess that doesn't make it an entirely one trip. But yeah,
If they don't go, so then basically the season's just going to stop for 2
no,
weeks.
if it's there's like a deadline of at
okay.
some
That
point.
would be hilarious. Like
Wouldn't
they
it?
don't go to the Olympics, but they still. It's like, well, we scheduled the break, so
Yeah, it on the official press releases, it all said like, in the event that they go, here's what's going to happen, and if for some reason they don't, well, we'll release a new schedule when that date arrives.
Okay. Andy, what were you going to say? I know it's been like a half hour. But
No, it doesn't matter. I was going to say I feel like the quality of the hockey is like during whenever there's a Winter Olympics year is always noticeably pretty so after the break. Like these guys are just fucking exhausted,
Yeah,
and it's a little different. It's probably jarring going from playing for your country and going for a really huge achievement in a medal. Then you're kind of like, well, I'm back earning my paycheck. And
with the Columbus Blue
well,
Jackets or whoever.
yes
yeah.
and no, yes and no though, because like you maybe have like at most 5 guys on a roster that are going over the Olympics. Every other guy's going down to Cabo for a month. Like, it's funny when the Olympic break does happen because like you see all the third and fourth liners like, oh screw it, I'm just gonna go on vacation to Mexico for a week.
It'll get
while you
warm
guys-
for a little while.
Yeah, well, you guys go do that. So I mean, yeah, but it's hard because you haven't been with your group for at least 2 or 3 weeks, and now you got to gel back together, and
Right.
you know.
And you don't. There's
It's
like no
different.
camp or anything, right? They just show up and start playing again, right?
there is a brief camp. There's a brief.
Oh,
period.
okay. I was gonna say because like, I mean,
Well,
I
and
know it's like roll in. Like, okay, we haven't played since 3 weeks ago yesterday, but we're just gonna roll in and just like suit up and lace them up and get out there.
Right. Well, and that's also the thing that's the NHL and IOC hurt the players by not agreeing to this sooner, because in theory, if we already knew that they were going, they could have some sort of summer get together where
Yeah.
like you invite the top 40, 50 players or whatever. Because I think that's what they did before Vancouver. Is they had. I mean, that's where we got the legendary Brian Burke "I Had a Dream" thought. about,
Yeah. Poor
not-
Seth Jones.
yeah. And so normally, like if they had known ahead of time, they'd be able to have some sort of mini camp in the summer to get everybody on the same page of like, hey, if you're selected to the team, this is what we're going to be doing, and just be ready for that, in February. And they're able to get some sort of groundwork, but
Well, speaking of the,
they don't get that now.
Is anybody watching the Summer Olympics?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
hard. It's definitely difficult because of the time zone, but I'm doing what I can. I got a time zone calculator saved on my phone. It's interesting.
I've watched very
Been
little.
hot. Yeah, because NBC is. Well, Peacock is frustrating because it's cheap, but
Oh.
you don't get anything until 24 hours after it airs, which is
Well,
really annoying.
yeah. So I was sold a bill of goods with that because I already paid for Peacock, so I had it already. But every advertisement I saw, I was under the impression that I could see every single thing in the app. And I went to go look for stuff when it was happening. And I was like, okay, so it's not here. There were plenty of replays. And even when we had stayed up to watch the women's gymnastics do their first round, that's one of the things that is live in Peacock. But when it was starting, like I was going around the app, and like it's not there. So what I've been using is the NBC Sports app, where if you have like a cable subscription, which I use my grandparents' DirecTV, I just log in and everything shows up there live and otherwise. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
I've been.
and that was about it.
I
know
just
what,
have
too,
not been able to get into the swing of the Olympics this year. Like, I don't know.
The no fans thing. Just I had enough of that last year. I don't want to do that again. With no fans, it's a problem for me.
Andy, I think your delay is messing you up. Please make your point that we keep cutting you off on.
No, it's okay. It's just frustrating because like the app, I see stuff. Well, we went out to like a restaurant and just wanted to, enjoy our meal. And then I look on the TV and it's like, oh, there's women's beach volleyball. Awesome. So we were watching that. That was fucking killer. Like, I mean, yeah, it's one thing to look at women playing volleyball and bikinis, be like, oh shit, yeah, it's time for the women's Olympic volleyball. but like, when you actually watch it, for more than like 5 minutes, it's like, god damn, like they're like hurling themselves left and right. It's pretty incredible the amount of like athleticism they're displaying in a fairly casual sport, at least on the surface. But then I want to keep watching when I go home, and nope, I got to wait till the next day to fire it up on Peacock, which is a garbage app, by the way, app. Like
the absolute worst mainstream streaming app. Peacock.
Yes,
every single time I try to watch something on this stupid thing, it pauses 20 goddamn times for no reason.
Do you have the paid version? I have the paid version.
I have the paid version. Yeah, I've got the paid version.
I pay so I can watch Premier League games. Yeah.
I think I've only found like 3 things I even want to watch on there. Why? The main reason I got it originally was because Battlestar Galactica was on there.
I got it originally to watch Eurovision,
and then I started watching what's that cowboy show that Kevin Costner's in?
Yellowstone.
Not bad, not great, not bad. And that's about all I use it for. And it's like
I have people who keep trying to get me into that show, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't like Kevin Costner, so
you don't.
He's
okay.
Waterworld, man.
Oh, I've never seen Waterworld, so I understand. Chaos Blast, are you inviting us all to your house to come watch the Olympics? We could do that.
Yeah, it's just weird because like NBC has enough channels and they are playing stuff, but they just still haven't learned their lesson of like people just want to see whatever's on right that time. Like there is a part of me that enjoys prime NBC's curated coverage where they kind of present everything to you as you want to see it. And if I was somebody that didn't know what was going on, I would enjoy that product for what it is and not care that it happened 16 hours ago. But I can't live in that world. So I just wish that every other channel was live because the other thing is like I'm trying to cover some of these surfers because they're from our towns and the Olympic debut surfing and all that.
Yeah.
And the thing that's difficult is, for example, today they're having the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals in men's and women's surfing. The problem is the competitions are kind of all over the place. Like the final is supposed to start at 11:46 Pacific time at night.
That's like,
but if I wanted to watch it on TV, the quarterfinals aren't being broadcast until tomorrow afternoon, and then the finals aren't being broadcast until Wednesday morning on USA. And it's like, well, that happened literally 2 days ago, and you're going to sell it to me as if I don't know what happened? No. So we have to go into the app and find out what time it is, and everything's listed in military time, in local Japanese start time. So then you got to pull out your phone and figure out what time's what. And I open up the app, and when it says it's starting, but it's not there, that's because the app hasn't reloaded yet to like show me what's live now. It's just NBC's whole apparatus is so frustrating.
Well, what I've read, they've designed it to be shitty intentionally because they want you to obviously watch NBC where they have all their advertisements.
They excelled at that then.
Yeah, and so it's intentionally shit because they've always been this way with the Olympics. Like for fucking decades now, the NBC has just had a tight, like barely puckered asshole about letting anything Olympics go anywhere else but live on NBC. And with in this era of on demand streaming and live access where people have shown it's like I will pay you whatever the fuck you want to watch on demand in HD what I want. NBC has taken the stance of fuck you, I will do this, you have no agency here. And I hope that it reflects in the ratings. I hope that they get really fucking reamed, but they won't.
Well, by the way, they are. It's Rio was like 26 million for the first for opening ceremony and the first night of competition. The first night and opening ceremony was about 15 million this time.
I think too that they're banking on the main audience for the primetime NBC is not people like you guys that are like keeping up with it, but people like me that go, I don't know what the hell's going on. Let me watch this, you know, where I don't even know if it's live or not. I'm pretty sure it's not because it's happening in Japan, but so that, you know, that's what they're banking on. And I got to think that the majority of the audience for NBC is just like that. They're not looking at it going, who won the 200-meter broadstroke yesterday afternoon or whatever. They don't care. They just want to see something happen tonight. And
well, the other thing is like, even if I wasn't, like, there's so many people that are watching it live on Twitter, or you're getting the notifications from news apps saying who won well before it ever shows up on TV. But they've literally had this problem since 2008. Like, that was the first time I remember the Beijing Olympics, because Phelps was doing his crazy stuff. And we had like a killer women's gymnastics teams that year, and all the results were being put out there like 12 hours before NBC got the chance to show anybody what happened. So I just remember that being a problem. By the way, if anybody's curious, this is not going to do anybody for those listening to the recorded version of this, but live now on CNBC is USA Women's Beach Volleyball. So there you go, Andy. Right. Turn on your CNBC station right now.
Followed by, what's that guy's name? Donnie Deutsch? Tells you how to put your retirement together or whatever. What was I going to say? Go ahead, Andy. You were going to say something. I had a thought and I lost it.
I was especially, there was a moment the other day I was watching table tennis, women's table tennis and mixed singles. Pretty interesting sport, pretty interesting competition. These people, most of the time, very young people, have they've worked their most of their young lives to get to this moment. Really, huge deal for them. And so there's two young ladies playing table tennis, and the fucking judge doesn't know how to operate the scoring mechanism, which is like an iPad. So he's trying to get the score right. Meanwhile, this British announcer is so fucking frustrated. It's like, oh, this is the Olympic Games. We cannot figure out why this scoring device is wrong. It's not, the Netherlands is not winning 4-1 right now, everyone. The players are clearly very frustrated. And it's just like, gee, what a clusterfuck. It took like 20 minutes to get it straightened out. And they kept panning over to the judge, who was like blindly tapping this tablet, trying to like figure out how to get shit to work. It was just embarrassing. And they should feel bad. That's basically the overall.
Welcome to when old people are first to adopt technology. Like,
it was just very fun.
I took the training on it last week. I don't know why I can't get it to work. Have they shown badminton yet?
Badminton is on at right. I don't know if it's on right this second, but it is on in these first few days. Yeah,
those dudes and women. That's you would never guess that like a picnic sport can be that brutal, but Jesus, can they play? They're pretty good.
It's the same thing like Andy brought up with the table tennis.
Yeah, we're talking ping pong here, except like at 800 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's just so funny because it's these little like these games that are not. In your mind, they're not Olympic sports, but yet, you have these people from all other parts of the world, not necessarily ours, that are just like, this is what they've dedicated their life to. They're going to be the most kick-ass badminton player you've ever seen in your life, and that's what they do, and they're very popular in their home country, and it's just it kind of opens your eyes to how wide this world of sports actually is.
Yeah, because to do the badminton thing, I mean, goodness, you've got to really, really dedicate yourself to that to be that good at it. Because I watched a volley from something the other day, it was just blowing my mind.
Has anyone here actually played badminton?
Yeah,
it's a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah, I played.
Well, you play it like a picnic or whatever.
But even then, it's like, I don't know. It is a deceptively hard sport.
Yeah, and to watch them play it at the top level is pretty impressive. I mean, it probably sounds silly to people listening to the show, but it really is. And I just want to bring up the skateboarders too. What the hell? We finished third skateboarding.
I can explain to you the skateboarding competition because
you're telling me America isn't the most radical?
I guess not.
No. The skateboarding competition, as it's been set up for the Olympics, is totally fucked. So the way it works is,
You have the American coming out here.
well, no. It has nothing to do with the fact that we lost, because congratulations to
This is our sport.
Who won?
congratulations to the two 13-year-old girls from Japan that finished. A 13-year-old from Brazil and 13-year-old from Japan that finished first and second, and a 16-year-old finished third, and the 34-year-old American finished fourth.
I mean,
but
the
anyway.
teenagers did better at skateboarding. Is it surprising if you think?
Well, okay, so this is the way the competition works. I mean, skateboarding. Skateboarding is all about, like, especially when they're doing these street park runs, it's about getting your momentum and stringing tricks together and doing the whole thing. So the qualifying rounds are all, here's 45 seconds to a minute of time. Go out and do your 5 best tricks all in a row, and do your full run. And people were still falling during that because you just fall when you're doing skateboarding. But shit happens, but it was still a more enjoyable competition to watch. Then in the finals, they change the format to where you're just doing one trick at a time. You go out and you try to do one trick, and if you don't land it, well, too bad. So that doesn't work because everybody keeps falling. And so you see people keep going and doing, like, trying to grind the same exact rail, and they all keep falling because that's just the way the competition's set up. They don't have the opportunity to get back up and try to go jump over that set of stairs or whatever. They just have to fall on their face, go back to the top of the ramp, and wait their turn to do it all over again.
I just got to say that if I'm 34 years old and I show up my competition, or two 13-year-olds and a 16-year-old, I'm going to be like, yeah, I think I'll just sit this one out.
I'm just gonna
not because if I win, it's like, oh, you beat a couple 13-year-olds, big fucking deal. And if I come in fourth, well, then what? So it's just like,
so you're just gonna hang back at the ice cream stand and just take the afternoon off.
Nothing to be gained from that is what I'm saying. At 34 years old, nothing.
So yeah, it was bad.
I was gonna say, did America send Tony Hawk? Like,
well, Tony Hawk's there doing, like, TV stuff, but, like, the men's favorite is this kid named Nigel Houston, who's, like, the second coming of Tony Hawk, essentially.
Well, how many video games does he have?
He's in them. He's in the later ones. He finished 7th overall because he kept, he missed his couple tricks opportunities in the final. But another American finished 3rd and took the bronze. So I don't know. They're doing the bowl skate in the next competition. So hopefully that's
I don't know. I feel like that should be a national shame that the United States didn't take gold in skateboarding. Like, come on.
No, but
this is the country that invented skateboarding culture.
Yeah, but that's not the case. Like, if you have any sort of passing interest in the X Games, there's been Brazilians and Japanese kids that have won a bunch recently.
We should have my brother.
At the last, literally the X Games 2 weeks ago, a 12-year-old from Brazil beat Tony Hawk in a competition.
See, that's nothing to gain for Tony Hawk.
Yeah, So what's Tony Hawk gonna do? Like, right. Well, I just got beat by a 12-year-old. All right.
You beat the 12-year-old, and people say you beat a 12-year-old, big deal, or you lose to the 12-year-old, and you go, "Wow, dude," and that's that. We should have my brother up for this. He knows all these people, like, left and right. He sounds like us when we talk football or whatever with all this skateboarding shit. And
the other thing that's been weird, bad. They introduced the 3-on-3 basketball this year.
I've heard that this isn't going well.
It's like I thought they were doing full court. No. It's half court.
Oh wait, have you guys not seen any of this Big 3 basketball league bullshit?
No,
it's awful. I knew this shit was awful like 2 years ago.
Doesn't the Big 3 at least play full court?
No,
or am I wrong?
No,
they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they got to do that taking back bullshit, which is I hate.
Yeah, no, like I've been watching this style. I saw this style of basketball. I was at a bar before COVID. This shit was on the was on behind the bar. I watched some of it. It was awful.
And the final score of some of these games is like 17-9, and it's like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, no, and you get oh god, no. This I don't know why people keep trying to make this style of basketball a thing because it's not like
the only interesting thing is that it's played outdoors.
Yeah,
it's an outdoor venue.
You can play regular basketball outdoors, though.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, and then the U.S. men's team is
Lost to
blowing
France.
ass. Yeah, they're terrible.
You lost to France.
Kevin Durant about to apply for French citizenship.
Jesus.
I don't know. Like I
The next
People are-
step of my journey, he's wearing a beret and holding a baguette.
yeah.
Right.
People are hammering this men's team, but like, you know how much NBA basketball these guys have played in the last like 10 months?
A lot.
But between the bubble last season and then all of this season and then the playoffs and then you got guys that like all the top guys either aren't going or they got kicked off the team due to COVID or they got like 3 days to practice before they got on a plane to Japan, or guys like Chris Middleton and Devin Booker literally got on a private jet a day after the finals ended to go to Japan to go play with a team they haven't practiced with yet.
Okay,
So
all
it's
very
like-
all very good points, Zach. However, counterpoint: the USA was up 74-67 with 3:19 left and blew it. So,
Yes.
It wouldn't have been
all of your
also-
point, all of your points are very well stated, and we should
Also
definitely keep those in mind. But memes, on the other hand,
I just want
so
to say the embarrassing part of losing to France was that the French players were all smoking while playing the game, which made it look particularly bad.
They're all eating baguettes with one.
Like, fired up. Cigarette in their mouth.
they had a monkey on the sidelines playing the accordion, and it was just
They were actually rowing. They were rowing gondolas between games, just exhausting themselves. Plus, they were hurling rifles and ripping white out of their stuff. Very surprising loss. Yeah, there's stereotypes we missed. I don't know if we missed any there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a gymnastics person when it comes to the Olympics because it's unique. It's like the only time I really pay attention to gymnastics, and I guess it's kind of a shame because when I watch it, I'm so impressed. But then after the Olympics is over, it's like I got other
yeah.
things
But
I
where
can
do you even find it? I don't think I've ever seen gymnastics aired outside of the Olympics.
I'm sure
They
it's available.
sometimes air like national trials occasionally, but like
The place to find it, Mike, is like in January and February after football season's really slowed down. And looked like at a network that doesn't.
Well, I don't have time for that because that's when I schedule my XFL time.
well,
so
no,
Right.
like literally the only place to see it when it's not, the Olympics time. Occasionally, there's like a championship that'll show up on NBC Sports. Otherwise, like NBC has the Olympic Channel, which shows all these competitions like track and field and swimming, like that just kind of happen around the world throughout the year, but nobody thinks to ever go over there because, I mean, why would you? Yeah, we SEC Network, like there's college gymnastics has actually picked up in the last couple of years. Pac-12 in particular, SEC in particular as well.
Yeah. If you
Which, by the way, we can skip off the Olympics now because this is the other biggest story that we need to definitely talk about before we go.
Aaron Rodgers signing to come back with the Packers.
No,
Fuck
Oh.
him.
no,
Fuck
of
him.
course he was.
All his shit. Fuck them all. Fuck them.
Texas and Oklahoma have all but said out loud, "We're joining the SEC."
Okay, like I told you guys in the text, you careful what you wish for. You got to play defense in that conference, and
Well,
it's going to be ugly watching them give up 80 points a game. But okay,
It's gonna be really funny when they become Tennessee,
yeah,
right? Like,
right. Yeah.
Be solely money. I mean,
yeah, yep.
there's no other competitive wise. No,
I think
But
at that point, don't they have pretty much every marquee team in this like that region of the country is in the SEC at that point?
Every
yes.
team except Clemson, yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean,
Like Clemson, Florida State, Miami. Those are your outliers in the southeastern.
yeah, but
portion of the country.
anything west of there is like all SEC at this point.
Yeah.
There's even talked at Ohio State and what was the other one? Oh, geez, there was one other big
No,
Penn school that were going to join.
I'm telling you. Remember when we talked about the European Super League? For
Yeah.
soccer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Blow the whole goddamn thing up.
Yeah.
Do Super League NCAA and just be done with the damn thing. Just go grab USC, UCLA, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and then the rest of the SEC at this point. Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and just be done with the whole damn thing. Like, forget about the rest of the country and college football Super League. Let's go.
You know, I mean, Andy's
done with
right. It's obviously about cash, but I mean, if you're Oklahoma or Texas, you got to look at this and go, any chance of us getting to the playoff just got 10 times harder.
Well, they have to be banking on the 12-team, 16-team model that they know is coming.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, they know that if they just finish fourth in the SEC, they're still going to make the playoff.
That'll be bullshit too.
Yeah, it's reaching a breaking point to where it really, especially with the NIL stuff coming for players and the NCAA overall, is sort of losing a lot of its agency and perceived authority. It's just time. Scrap a lot of it. And there's already talk about the Big Ten expanding now to bring in more teams. It's like, what are you fucking doing? Just let the SEC, don't call it the SEC anymore. Just call it College Football Conference, and then everything else can just be burned in a fire that's on someone else's channel. They don't even speak of it. They don't think of it. Team.
The school I feel really bad for, because I have personal ties, but just based on their comments on SEC Media Day, Texas A&M is pissed, absolutely pissed.
I bet,
because they had this corner on the market as like, well, we're the SEC team in this part of the country, and we're actually getting pretty good now, and we get Jimbo Fisher, and we get good players, and we like our lot in life. And now it's like we left the Big 12 to get away from you two assholes.
Yep.
And now here you come. Like, does Texas go back to the Big 12 to, like, I don't think they will, because they make too much money in the SEC, as we kind of alluded to, but I kind of feel bad for the Aggies.
Not only that, but don't they have a Big 12 TV network, or is that? Yeah, they do.
No, there's only the Longhorn Network.
That's right. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Which I assume that they'll have to get rid of when they move to the SEC. But
you know what? Maybe, Notre Dame's got its own network deal. Why not?
These hands may wash one another as far as piling up the exponential income. But I mean, this is a domino, is all it is. I mean, it may be disastrous short term, but long term, I think it's actually in a way very good, because it will be an impetus and a kind of marking point for when college football's, the already flimsy house of cards structure began to kind of collapse on itself. At least that's what we can hope for.
Yeah, I just like I said, I if I'm Oklahoma and Texas, I stay right where I'm at, because you, like Zach said, you're going to become Tennessee, especially like Texas. Come on. They're going to be Tennessee all over again. Same colors and everything, basically. It's just ridiculous. And
and the organization is going to be all screwed up, because what I understand is that the idea of how to organize the SEC, should this happen, they're going to go into 4-team pods rather than an SEC East and SEC West.
Oh, geez. I feel bad for too is Missouri.
Missouri too.
I mean, because look, they had a year.
They did the same thing as A&M.
Yeah, they were kind of solid. If I was Missouri, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going back to the Big 12, where we can dominate that thing now. I don't. Andy's right. I mean, this has to happen, because it just has to happen. And college football, it's kind of the point to me where I'm more interested in my Toledo Rockets than I am the Ohio State Buckeyes, because at least there's still competition there, or something. I don't know what it is, but it's just not. And I'm not one to say like, oh, I want the tradition and the amateur tradition. I mean, fuck all that. But at least make it interesting. This is just turning into like a big giant NFL playoff pool or something. What we got here? Are we getting ready for bussing and big eats and all that?
No, I don't have that done for this, but I did want you guys to guess, how much do you think this costs?
Oh, God.
In terms of dollars or calorie count?
Just dollars.
Yeah, okay. I thought I just swiped by this on my Twitter feed. I know what it is. It's ugh.
Well, let's see if Mike and Greg can.
First off, do you guys know what that is?
French fries, some sort of cheese. I don't know.
Are those mushrooms? I don't have.
I'm trying to pull up like what actually is in them here.
Yeah, I'm trying to roll through this article.
Yeah, it's got a lot of crap.
Oh, it's so wow. Do we want to go? I think if I start going through all of it, you're gonna guess too high. Even
Okay, let me just
What-
throw out a dollar.
Looking at it, how much does that cost? Yeah,
I'm going to throw out dollar amount. I'm going to say $950.
Oh no.
I was going to
Too
go
high.
with $24.95.
No. Too low.
No. So these
ahead,
are
Zach.
the creme de la creme pommes frites. They start out as chipperbeck potatoes. They're then blanched or scalded in vinegar and champagne. They then fry pure goose fat, not oil, not once but twice, so they are crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside. They are then sprinkled with edible gold and seasoned with truffle salt and truffle oil. They are served on a crystal plate with an orchid thin sliced truffle and a Mornay cheese dip. The sauce, too, is infused with truffles, a rare seasonal mushroom.
How much does that
And
cost?
the cost, $200.
Yeah.
200. This is a restaurant that has a $295 hamburger and a $1,000 ice cream sundae.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong if I say that actually sounds good?
I mean,
the French fry meal does sound good. I'm not paying $200 for that shit, but
I like truffle fries. Sorry, so you know
that
Well, they're
hamburger.
truffle fries fried in pure goose fat and blanched in vinegar and champagne.
and they
That
actually
sounds
get the goose from outside. They just shoot the thing, bring it inside, and it's still.
Do I get to pick the goose?
You might actually be able to. They probably got it in the back somewhere. You can just come and just.
I want to pick the goose whose fat I'm going to eat. So
I want for a $290 hamburger. That fucking cow better come out and go. Which part would you like?
Also, if you're don't expect to get them, within the next 10 minutes. There's an 8 to 10 week wait list for the fries.
Okay, I'm not waiting that long.
This is the $1,000 ice cream sundae, by the way.
Yeah,
All because they just put a bunch of edible bullshit gold all over it.
Yeah.
Why would I want
That's
to eat?
that's
gold?
what makes it expensive is the edible gold.
Why would I want to do
Uh,
that? Just because.
By the way, this restaurant, Manhattan's Upper East Side, and it's called Serendipity 3.
I'm legitimately surprised it's Manhattan. I thought this had Brooklyn written all over it.
why would anybody want to eat gold other than just to be like, okay, look at this, just crazy, conspicuous consumption
Well,
here. Just
I mean,
because
that's
I can.
that's the thing. That this food is absolutely like vanity food for like. I have so much money that investing, somebody's groceries for a month
Yeah.
on a plate of French fries, which I'll probably eat, I don't know, half of, and then later throw it away, it's a symbol of extravagance.
Right.
And then it's really sad that it's kind of neat in a way because it brings up the whole like, oh my god, look, let's see if we can make this food. So like this is fries
But
are
also,
a what's that?
Look at the restaurant that it's being served in. Oh, that link's not going to work, is it?
I'm just
no.
saying, if you guys ever hear me saying like I bought some $1,000 French fries, somebody go, dude. How about like if you've got that kind of money to blow, then use it to like go to the Walmart and pay for the first 5 people behind you in line or some shit.
Or I don't know, at least blow it so you can watch your team blow a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl.
That's never going to be not funny, Mike.
Oh,
Anyway, there's a story. You can kind of swipe through the photos. You can see the restaurant that it's being served in. It's not like it's some. It's not like it's some leather chair.
No,
dark
holy
lit
shit!
room.
This place is tacky as hell.
Yeah, it's tacky as fuck. I'm going to see if I can pull up some good images. But it looks like a hoarder, like there ain't.
They've got the marathon gas horse on the wall there, for fuck's sake.
Like, I don't know. I kind of
Is
expected.
it wearing a Guardians hat? The
Mine-
Guardians logo would fit great on that wall.
No.
You know what? Just I'm sorry, eating gold. Fuck off. Just fuck off. I don't even want to know about it. That's just stupid.
Like
So that's funny. That room doesn't look anything like the other room that we just saw.
That's the gold eating room, Zach. That's gold.
Yes, please, sir. Oh, you've ordered this. Please come over to our gold eating room.
Come with me to the gold eating room.
Gold
so
just because
there's
fuck
other
you.
serendipity.
There's what?
There's other serendipity. So as Dennis says, the Vegas Serendipity 2 was converted to a kitchen restaurant. So there was a Serendipity 2. It's now, so this is the third in a series, I guess. Fucking
they peaked at Serendipity 1.
Once Johnny Depp left the series, it just really went downhill.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, I feel like every few weeks we come back to, you know, ostentatious or weird food, and it brings me great joy to do so.
That's just. I'm sorry, eating gold is just like.
I mean, I actually had truffle fries just before we started the show, and it cost me about $8.
Yeah.
I've had truffle fries. I've had duck fat fries. I've had goose fat fries. Like you can, like, are they a little more expensive? Yeah, they're $20 for something that could be 10.
You guys
but
like the gold free versions. That's why they're so cheap.
Well,
I mean, that's it. I need to start. My doctor actually told me I need to get more gold in my diet. So
I should do that. Go up to the place that I got my truffle fries from next time. Can I get them with gold?
Put some gold on these bitches right now. Oh my goodness. NFL training camp's open tomorrow, boys.
That's right.
What? And did Aaron Rodgers come back to the Packers?
There's a report that he is going to play with the team and then sign some sort of contract that will let him leave after this year.
Yeah.
Is what I read. But
what a bitch.
That's the reporting right now. Apparently, none of the Packers know this, but
what a bitch.
Well, fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck all the Packers nonsense. I don't want to get into the time of day. Bunch of assholes. Just the whole franchise. Wait, yeah, breaking news. Wait, no, never. Fuck them. No, never mind.
No, the NFL thing I want to talk about was the Texans are willing to listen to trade offers for Deshaun Watson. I bet they are.
But isn't he still under investigation for?
Is the Houston Police Department listening to deals for?
I mean, send him a 7th rounder and a gym bag, and he's yours. Come on.
So, I just want to emphasize here about the gold. So they're as of I think last year, they're almost entirely there's no more gold to mine. There's still some, but it's very difficult to mine, and they pretty much know where it is, but it's expensive to dig it up. So all the gold in the world is essentially accounted for, and it is indestructible. There is a allotment of gold that is dedicated simply to go into the mouths of rich fucks to poop it out and then just dump it into the ground again. So in 200, 300 years, people mining landfill and shit and find half digested chunks of gold oil. So that's right. Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Who the fuck really? Even if I had fuck you 15 times over money, I wouldn't eat gold. That's just bullshit.
Is that an official number according to Forbes?
15 times over?
Fuck you 15 times over money?
Yeah, that's pretty good money. You're in the hundreds of millions at that point. If you've got
I only had it because what college kid hasn't, but the Goldschlager vodka with the gold flakes in it.
Yeah. Not proud to say so, but yes.
I mean, you think any of the dudes brought that to the party? No. It's, the sorority girl brought it, and it was just Goldschlager. It's all right. I mean,
we forgot to bring up the Saints are now playing it. Sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
It's the job done. Yes, the Saints are playing at Caesars Entertainment Superdome, and I really liked my joke.
I thought it was a great joke. I really did.
It was good.
Yeah. This is they should be calling this.
I'm gonna review your joke. Go ahead.
Sorry, just
No,
this is the second time that Caesars Entertainment has sponsored a Coliseum.
I thought it was awesome.
I liked it. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody else has made some sort of joke on Twitter, the halftime show will be lion fights with gladiators and I can't. That's a good one. I can't wait for the Lions to play at Caesars Entertainment Superdome.
I am looking forward to everyone at the Superdome who's on staff wearing a toga.
I feel like it's got to be, like there's always stabbings at the Raiders games, but I feel like at this one it would be canon to stab somebody in the parking lot.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah,
You're stitched through the same name, and you could stab them, dude. So you could stab a guy, and then when they're arrested, taken to the stadium prison, why the hell did you stab that guy like 20 times? Like, well, are we not Caesars? Free to go.
Yeah, no. Whenever there's like a penalty call or a review, they should just cut to someone dressed as Caesar sitting in a suite with his thumb kind of doing the sideways thing.
Right. There you go.
Or even better yet,
will this call be upheld? Let's go to Caesar for more. Call overturned.
They should do that with when guys are injured. So, like the guy falls down, he's like hell, and he can't walk. And, the cart comes out and Caesar says, thumbs down. It's like he suit him up, stand him up. He's got to play again, and they just have to keep going.
Or Caesar yells, thumbs down.
Yeah, Dennis got it. Saints fed 2 lions at Caesars. Yep, that's right. That's how that should go.
That we'll have some fun with that, I'm sure.
Meanwhile, the Red Wings play at Little Caesars, so there's all sorts of confusion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the Red Wings are owned by Little Caesars, so.
Yeah. Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're owned by
Illich, right?
Yeah.
Illich owns Little Caesars. Yeah.
Every time you buy a Honda,
teams. He isn't on the Pistons. He owns the Tigers and the Red Wings, though, right?
Tigers and the Wings, but not the Pistons, not the
not the Lions.
The Lions are owned by Ford.
Yeah, I mean, who would want the Lions, right?
The same company that I don't know.
Do you know what the worst franchise in the NFL is called? An NFL franchise. So even if it's the Lions, you're still making a ton of money, I bet.
Yeah, I wanted to briefly mention there was a unfortunate the beginning of the season. It truly began the other day when Cam Akers tore his ACL. That's how it starts. This is like I'm not trying to say it to
What the hell was that?
Zach's.
That was my deep sigh.
Oh, okay.
Very, very important. I mean, this is how it is. I was talking to some people at work today about this. It's like everyone's talking about, the Bears are going to play Justin Fields. He's this big difference maker. And I'm like, you know what? Everything's fine, and it's all exciting and stuff until the fucking guy steps the wrong way or a line rolls up on him and his knee's blown, and then you never know if he's going to be the same again. It's just and the whole season's gone after that.
Yeah, well, that's why Sean McVay today said that the new number 1 running back, Darnell Henderson, he said, yeah, he's not playing in the preseason, 1 single down. And it's like, okay. And I think the Bengals also already announced that, yeah, Joe Burrow is not playing in the preseason.
Hell no.
Not doing that.
They got to stop this preseason bullshit. They just have to. I mean, I get it. You've got guys that
there's a reason for it, but
but how many players have we lost over the years though, for a season or for part of a season?
Well, I mean, they're not going to change the goddamn thing until people stop paying attention. And preseason exhibition football with nobody's playing the second half and part of the first garners more ratings than the NBA and NHL combined.
Yeah.
And it's just they can't stop. Even if they reduced it to just exhibitions or whatever, they would still make it a big event because it's just football. People just cannot get enough. Even now, we talked about this 10 years ago about how football is the bubble going to burst. No, it is not burst, not even close. If anything,
no. In fact, they're talking about adding leagues. So,
but yeah. So we got more. Now we'll have the MLB deadline will have passed, so there may be some fairly significant moves. There'll be the NHL free agency will start. Day does that start?
Wednesday.
Okay, so a couple days.
Wednesday, noon Eastern.
That'll be it. So there'll be some more Olympics to discuss. So hopefully by next Monday there'll be a lot of cool shit.
Maybe next week we can talk about the
debut with the French
Bane masks that the Olympic team is wearing.
Hopefully, hopefully by next week, the United States will actually, regain some honor and get a gold in skateboarding.
Regain your honor. Needs to be.
Anyway, we got anything else, fellas? Or should we call it a night?
I think I'm good.
All right.
I'm looking at this thing. That Taco Bell apparently they had a burger, the Bell Beefer. Do you remember this? Back in the 1970s.
Oh, save that for Hello Fellow Kids this week. Yeah.
And I'll put a pin in that one. It's interesting. Anyway, that's all. I don't have anything else.
All right.
Del Taco out here has burgers and fries. It's not that weird.
Fair enough.
We're going to wrap it up on that note. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and the YouTubes, wherever fine podcasting is sold. We'll be back with more of this insanity next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.